Well, it was the same. It was the same email as last time. It was Stack Marketer, and I saw they were talking about inflation and how it's impacting different industries, and toys have gone down, and I just thought that was such a happy thing. Like, it was just so wholesome.
You said employees have gone down?
Toys.
Oh, toys.
Like kids' toys. Like, that's just so nice. I just like knowing that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But here's the
groceries are up 10%,
no,
but
are 12%, and toys are down 6%. So it's kind of like you can still buy toys at the cost of starving.
So if you regularly buy, if you regularly buy groceries with your toys, then everything's fine. I mean, it's still up a little bit, but it's kind of a wash. Yeah.
No, okay. Well, the actual article that I had was how it was saying that you could receive more engagement if the social proof that you post as ads or on your social channels was in dark mode, because 82% of people use dark mode on Twitter and Facebook. And I don't know if LinkedIn has a dark mode. I don't believe that. I think that's bullcrap. Because I
does it reference the study? Does it say? Yeah. Like, is this like a Cosmopolitan one where they're like, we interviewed 20 preteen girls and 19 of them use dark mode? Like, okay, cool sample size, I guess. Not really representative, but okay.
Actually,
do you use dark mode though?
It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I use dark mode for everything.
Okay, I do too.
It doesn't actually use a study. It's more of like a subjective study, because it's like, it's saying most people use dark mode. So when you post screenshots of like reviews and social proof or whatever, like, do it in dark mode, because then it seems more organic or more familiar. And like, I use dark mode and I think screenshots of dark mode looks weird on my feed. Like,
this is like Inception. Like, there's 2 layers that need to happen. It's one is, hey, here's this study just so you know. And the second layer is, okay, well, somebody test it and see if the campaigns actually perform better having used dark mode screenshots.
Yeah, I would believe that that creative looks different. Different creative will have different results on light versus dark mode. Because I've actually tested this. Well, I haven't tested it, but different creatives worked on different platforms. Like, LinkedIn doesn't have a dark mode. I'm fairly certain of that. And then Facebook does, but the opposite creatives perform better on those. And I tested this with my day job, but it was weird. It was night and day, no pun intended.
Do you set separate dark modes based on the application, or do you just use the system default? Because like for me, it's just system default for everything. Unless something gets weird, like unless something clearly looks bad, then I'll go, okay, I'm going to look into the settings here. But I just bank on every app to use the system default, which is
set system default to dark mode.
Oh, so you've just been doing it every individual one?
I guess. I mean, my browser is in dark mode.
That might be the one that I don't feel.
Because
I guess the difference here is the operating system. Because for Android,
which I have,
for Android, it's just the system default, and then everything else pulls from that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have that. I just didn't know like it affected social media apps, because I feel like I still had to go into Twitter, and I still had to go into Facebook and change those to dark mode.
I guess I'm a bad example for social, because the only things I really check anymore are going to be like Facebook occasionally, LinkedIn occasionally, Reddit. That's it.
Yeah, I don't even know where my settings are for dark mode on Twitter. It's light mode right now, and I know my browser is in dark mode though. But anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah, episode 9. Welcome everybody. You already know which podcast you're listening to.
Yep. And I'm still in Canada.
Yeah. Well, last episode, Cody was in, he's actually in a cabin in Minnesota. We didn't establish that. You were in Minnesota, but not in a cabin.
Well, I said 2/3 of the way to Canada.
That doesn't mean cabin.
You're right. I didn't say cabin. You know, the cool thing up here, I think the coolest thing is that it stays light right now until like 10 o'clock.
Well, I think it's a little bit earlier than that. What is cool though is the sun comes up at 5 a.m.
I do not wake up then, so I don't know
I
that,
don't
but I
even.
know.
I get scared whenever I get woken up at the sunlight, like this morning, because I had my haircut at
Mm,
7:30, and
uh,
I think I just gave
I
it
didn't even
away that
know.
we recorded this podcast and the last podcast episode in the same day. Anyways,
Mm,
I
it's
woke up.
okay.
I woke up at 7:30. I had a haircut at 7:30, but I woke up with the light shining on my face, and I was like, "Oh crap! I overslept. I'm gonna look terrible." And I looked at my clock, and it was 5:30. I was like, "It's 5:30. It's
Mm,
this bright. Holy crap!"
is it hot where you are right now?
No, it's like
Okay,
73.
because apparently when we get back, it's supposed to be 102 or something.
Oh well, you're going back to Iowa, and
A
Iowa's just
swamp.
hell in general.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
No, it's not that bad. All right.
Episode 9.
Episode 9. Yeah, did I say 8? 9. Episode
9.
9.
You said 9.
We're rolling right into the next topic, which is super related to the last one. This one is to let client criticism make you better. And I just noticed when I read these episode titles, they're going to be different than what they're actually going to be posted as. These are just my notes, but when I post them,
Oh,
I optimize them for SEO.
oh, like to rank. So this could
Yeah,
be something like how to improve client relations or
or
something.
what to do about client criticism. What do you do? What do you do when your client's mad at you?
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see. I don't know. I might not even do anything. Um, I wanted to talk about this one because we received a lot of this in our early days, and up
Because
until
we were dumb.
yeah, well, up until like last year, we haven't really received that much this year. We've received, if anything, it's been more of they're not, they don't know what they want, and they're not very clear with what their target cost per acquisition is. And I can't even tell you how many emails that I've sent explaining what target cost per acquisition is and how we need to know that information in order for them to assess our value. And it almost seems like the opposite of last episode where I was like, no, it's our fault for not explaining it. And I'm like, it's your fault for being stupid.
Yeah, that's good. Balance is good.
Yeah, but no, but for real, there is a certain level where the client has to understand what they want, and if they don't know what they want, then maybe they're not a good fit for you. If you've tried to explain your value and they're just not getting it, either you're not doing it good enough, or at a certain point they're not gonna understand it. I was, there was someone who told me back when I was like 19 that there are 20 or so 20% of people will never buy anything. They will just like you could sell them gold for $10 and they wouldn't buy it. 10% of people will buy everything. Like you could sell them poop for $1,000 an ounce and then buy it. And then the 70% of people you will have to convince to you're basically on the fence.
I'm going to assume these percentages are made up, but
Yeah,
like the sentiment.
yeah, 100%. They're definitely made up. But the clients who just don't understand the value at all, those are the 20%ers. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try to convince them, if they're just not going to understand it. And you have to walk the line of being like, should I put more effort into this person, or should I just move on? But I always put effort into everybody to try to help them understand. But
That's nice.
yeah, I know. Well, you know what I do.
That's like the toy thing. Like,
well,
just wholesome today. We got cheap toys.
yeah.
Jake putting effort into everybody.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
just nice.
yeah, but there's always a bit. There's always a downside. Like, I'm nice, you're a dick. Toys are 6% down, food's 12% up.
Yeah, you're right. So we're still up. Yep.
But no, I did want to talk about client criticism again. So like we used to just get dumped on by a client like in droves almost. It almost felt like 3 clients at a time would be upset for different reasons. I mean, again, this goes back to like February and March of 2021 when we were so busy. We were basically only doing work, getting our new clients set up, and really not paying attention to our established clients and moving the
Classic newbie mistake.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is why we ended up hiring, because we didn't hire because we needed someone to take on the work for take on work for us to do other things. We needed somebody to do the work we weren't doing, just in general. And it goes back to what, like, episode 4 or something like that, or 3, of like structuring your services. Like SEO you can get away with for a while, and lead clients around, or at least establish the value of our high performing services, which is ads, which we did maintain very well. And then but then there does come to a point where, okay, we do need to address SEO throughout this year, and that's when we hired our old employee. And then things got a lot better, but we still had some criticisms. And instead of we rarely just went back to the client and said, no, you're wrong, like this is the way it is, this is actually good. We always said, yeah, we're addressing this, thanks for bringing it up. Like we had our Texas client who even told us, he goes, I get it, guys, you're growing, you're you're focused.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, he was, you're growing, you're getting a lot of new clients, but I just feel like you're not focusing on your old clients who need month-to-month support and actual action moving forward. And we were just honest. We're like, yeah, that's sounds about right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wrote down 2 things. I think one, in business, we are not anymore. We were especially young and new. I'll say this is our first real business. In that it's working, it's going well, we're growing, we're doing things that businesses that become well-established businesses do. I know that's all relative and subjective to say those things, but when I think of successful established businesses, I think of doing a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, I mean probably at least $1 million a year. Have employees that are well compensated with the benefits, that sort of thing. We're moving further and further towards doing all those sorts of things. So when it's just a crash and burn from the start, right? Like you mess up, you dust yourself off, you figure it out, you straighten up, you do better. And the only thing worse than doing that is doing nothing. So suck it up. Don't be one of those really smart people who does nothing. That's dumb. Just be risky, take risks. Yeah, but there's also some bad screening too, probably at the time, where we said yes, maybe a little bit more often than we needed to. But I can't even say that it was bad. I mean, we made mistakes, yes, but it also got the business to where it is now. So,
yeah. Well, one of the big mistakes that we made too is when we first got together, we fleshed out some different packages that we would have. Mm-hmm. Well, we fleshed out the first 2, but we didn't quite get the third one down. And we're like, that's okay. Very few people are going to get the second package anyways. I doubt anybody's going to upgrade to whatever the third package is going to be, which is kind of funny if you think about it. We had a third package on the site, but we didn't even know what it was, really. And
well, I think a lot of people do that, where they're like, you give us enough money, we'll figure it out. Like, just,
yeah,
we'll do anything if you pay us enough. That's basically what a lot of companies, they call it enterprise. They're like, enterprise, talk to us.
Yeah, talk to a sales rep. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I never thought of it that way, but I guess it is that way. Our original packages were called the Green Startup, the Rainmaker, and was it Domination, Market Domination? There's a point where we called it like Monopoly or something like that.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you it was in. I'm gonna call Monopoly or Market Domination Rainmaker Plus, because it was everything in Rainmaker plus more. But Green Startup was our foundation package. That's what we have now. We created the Rainmaker, which was the Green Startup or the foundation, plus blogging and additional ad spend. And that was the only difference. And the difference back then was a $600 difference versus a $1,500 difference. And we wanted people on the Rainmaker because it was a bigger, I mean, it was double the profit. And the profit increase was, yeah, it was just literally double because there was an added SEO value component to it. But we also increased ad spend because we're like, well, if we're going to spend more time doing SEO and they're going to be paying more, we should also have a higher ad budget to drive more immediate results. But what we found out were two things that were kind of wrong. One, we felt like the Rainmaker deserved a higher onboarding cost. So we gave people like an additional 4 website pages, which eventually added changed to like 6, which was like an addition of a gallery and an FAQ page. And then the other pages were like additional subservice pages. So we're like, well, this is going to be more applicable to people who offer more services. Little did we know that the clients who actually offer more services tend to not do as good as the clients who offer a lesser amount of services, which is really weird for those clients who could afford the Rainmaker onboarding, but our value didn't make sense. And then the Green Startup was half the cost for the onboarding and included a basic website build that was like 11 pages. It was your home, services, service areas, about us, contact us, plus 4 subservice pages. That's 9. And then a thank you page for the tracking conversions and a privacy policy. And that was only $2,000. $2,000. Well, it was actually $1,000 when we first started, when we were underselling ourselves. And then we moved it to $2,000. And then the Rainmaker was double that for 6 extra pages. 4 of them, which can just be duplicated from the other 4 with changed out content. And then the actual, we had like, I remember when we actually went to market with like the new website, we had signed on like 4 people onto the Rainmaker, and it was usually a discounted onboarding cost because I just couldn't justify $4,000 because some of them called me out for it. Some of them were like, wait, so I pay this much more just to get more of these pages? So they were usually discounted. And sometimes we just took over a website, which at that point, I couldn't justify doing $2,000 for an onboarding cost just to take over a website without a website build because it didn't make any sense when you actually looked at it. So I would do like $1,000 onboarding cost or $500 onboarding cost for website takeovers. And then Cody would build out the ad campaigns and the tracking, and then we'd go to work. But that was just one of the criticisms, was the onboarding costs for some of these different packages. The second one was the actual services themselves for the Rainmaker. Like, they just didn't perform as quickly as what you would expect given what you were paying versus what you would expect given what you were paying with the Green Startup. Our clients in the Green Startup, they were paying $600 a month, and they were just crushing it. And it was, and as Cody, you say, that package sold like freaking hotcakes.
Hotcakes.
Yeah.
Just had waffles for breakfast.
But they had like for every 4 green clients we sold like I think maybe like 1 Rainmaker. And at the end of the year, all 4 of those Green Startup clients were still with us, and none of those Rainmaker clients were still with us. I even did like a lifetime value assessment to see how much our lifetime value was for a Rainmaker client versus a Green Startup client, and it actually turned out that we'd be willing to pay more for a lead for a Green Startup client than a Rainmaker client.
Yeah, I mean the Green Startup was, and understandably, I mean, I think anybody who's been doing this for at least a little while will recognize the difference. Once you pass the 1K threshold a month, people start getting a lot more serious with their money, and understandably so. So, because we've talked about before, like the administrative element, all things considered, like the base tier package was a great value buy. There's a lot of really good stuff in there that makes it very cost effective. And the performance is very high impact, so it delivers a good ROI. But how we had it designed, once people started spending more money, I think, Jake, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the biggest issue was we had a heavy SEO element that was clean. And because of that, had a longer rollout time. So we had clients get frustrated saying, I'm paying this much, but it's taking too long. And we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a legitimate complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had to kind of come up with a solution. It was your brainchild. And I think your first solution. So again, just to recap the two issues that we faced, or the two biggest criticisms that we had was our onboarding didn't make any sense for the different types of clients that we were meeting with, and the step up one was way too steep for a lot of our green startup clients to make the leap without them almost doubling in revenue overnight. And the clients who did start on the Rainmaker, we had this false conception that the higher price packages were going to produce better clients who had more money to spend, which is not the case. They do have more money to spend, but they're more demanding in terms of results. And if a client has that much money to throw around, we figured like, oh yeah, it's $1,500 a month. That's nothing to them. Well, it is something to them. I mean, those clients are successful enough to know their numbers, and they know what they're getting and what they're not getting. So if you are offering services, from a course that you took online, that's $2,000 a month for social media, whatever that means, just be aware that your client's not stupid. It'll get you by for a couple months. But we addressed those complaints in two ways. So the first one was Cody said we're going to do away with our standard onboarding pricing, and we're going to take everything based off of the site build and complexity, as well as setting up marketing campaigns. Basically, what we were saying was you're going to get a site build at this cost, and we're going to set up your marketing for free for it if we roll into monthly marketing afterwards.
Yeah, I guess. Well, hold on. Let me say real quick too. I just want to clarify to people, because we do something that a lot of agencies don't do, and that is we charge for a portion of our setup costs. And a lot of agencies don't do that and would even be opposed to do that. And there's a lot of clients who say, I've never heard of this. Why would I pay money for this?
Talking about charging for the setup of the marketing?
Mm-hmm. And it's because the way how we position it and explain to clients is when we're done with the setup, it's not ours anymore. And you get to keep all the assets that we've created. So your like analytics account with proper conversion tracking setup, your tag manager, container, an account, search console, all of that is yours to keep. We're just setting it up for you so you have a way to track and measure these things that are independent of us too. If you leave us, you get to keep these things. They're your assets that we're giving to you that we just created for you. And they work. They work to do the important things that will work basically universally. We're not holding those things hostage. So anyway.
Man, that's not even how I pitch it either. I mean, I say that, but I usually pitch it as to our clients as saying, hey, do you charge for consultations? Or are you aware that consultation charging exists in your industry? And if they're like, yeah, well, it's like, well, that's what this is, except you're actually walking away with something.
Yep.
And ours is, we're cleaning up everything. We're setting up your reports. We're establishing all of these. And then like, especially for building a website, we're cleaning it up. We're tracking everything. Most clients that we take on that build a website, they don't have any of this tracking in place. So we'll structure, we build out our pages, or we have a core website build that costs X amount of dollars, and then we'll add every page that we add on as additional fee. But then then we'll work the marketing setup and build into that essentially for free. This is how I perceive it. You can perceive it however you want.
No, you're saying it.
All right, but then we have a separate cost for clients who want to keep their existing website, which we rarely do for a few reasons. Um, and I'll get into those in a second. But if they do end up keeping their website, then we just charge them $1,000 onboarding cost, and we do split this up. We do half at the beginning and then half at when it's completed. And that $1,000 is really just, it's one SEO cleanup of their existing pages and the creation of any pages that we might need for the ad campaign. And then it's also setting up your marketing reports. If they don't have their Google tools connected, then we'll get them set up and connected. And everybody seems fine with that. And the ones that aren't fine with that aren't clients. So that's,
because that's not asking for much money.
Yeah.
for what it is. So if it's a penny pitching issue, then it's like, well, you're just not prepared or positioned yet for this. So, there's other options until you get here, or I guess don't get to this hole. Anyway, yep.
Yeah, it's a non-refundable deposit, man. Just like a rent. Another other thing too is like, we're month to month, so we're not gonna give you an onboarding cost and then contract you for 12 months and then say sorry, it didn't work out. It's like, okay, well, we have this onboarding cost. If you don't like it after month one, you're free to leave.
Yep.
And we haven't had anybody do that since we kind of changed our expectations and our models. So now every onboarding is tailored. I mean, I usually quote about $3,000 site builds. Today I'm quoting a $6,500 one. And so it's just very, a case by case. The second thing we did was we changed our packages, our actual marketing services. So instead of having the Rainmaker, Cody, again, your brainchild, you're like, hey, we're going to change the Green Startup to the Foundation.
Yep.
And because it's foundational, you need it no matter who you are. Because what we found out was that it wasn't just our small clients taking on this Foundation or this Green Startup package. It was our big clients who have never done any digital marketing. We were signing clients that were doing $1 million plus, but had no digital presence whatsoever.
Yep.
And we're like, well, we don't want to jump you on a Rainmaker, one, because the package sucks, and two, it's better to start you out small, spending less money, optimize that, and then bump you up once you start seeing results.
Mm-hmm. And that's our business advice too, in our perspective of how we recommend doing marketing to people. And it's only backfired a couple of times, and that's usually by people who are used to dropping tons of money and not really being super accountable to how it's spent, other than just having a general gauge on what performance comes from it. And that's not our angle and not our approach. So the overwhelming majority of people like and prefer it this way, where we say, let's get a proof of concept. I mean, anybody who's done e-commerce knows how this works. When you find, or even paid affiliate campaigns, when you find what works, you get it where it's statistically significant and proven, then you flood it with money and you scale it as hard as you can. And so that's really similar to our angle now. We have a modular approach where we broke out the different kinds of services that we're now offering. And based on what's important to the client, I mean, we have a general, like a default game plan that we recommend loosely how people should go about it, unless they have something that's especially important to them. But it's a little bit, it's a limited buffet style where we've determined the winners that we know work well in the majority of cases, and then say, tell us what's important to you, and then you can pick and choose from these.
Yeah. So like Cody was saying, we make people be on the Foundation, where you're not getting Facebook ads from us, and then that's it. Like, if you want Facebook ads, you have to be on the Foundation. That is just the core. And this really comes down to a previous episode we had about sticking to what you're good at. Because if you offer the gambit of services, and then people start taking services that aren't very value driven or they don't drive results immediately. So in our industry, that would be Facebook ads, or it would be some other, it'd be blogging, for instance, that doesn't drive results immediately. but search engine optimization and Google Ads does. So if they want to focus on one of those secondary products, they can, but they have to be focused on a primary product because they're going to drop the product that isn't performing. And if they're only on Facebook or if they're only on an underperforming product, then they're going to drop the only product they have and not be a client from us anymore.
Yep. Yeah. And that happens everywhere across the board. I mean, if you're selling things that aren't directly attributable and easily proven to have a positive ROI, then you're going to always get pushback about upsells on it. And again, it's okay. It's just you set those expectations and be clear that, hey, what we're doing here is important and it works, but it's not working in the way that these other things work. So we need to agree on what good performance is and how we can measure it. And anyway, that's separate. Let's keep back on it.
I was gonna say, like, don't just listen to what we say. Like, you might find that our model sucks and that it doesn't work for you or your niche or industry or whatever, or maybe you're not good at SEO or Google Ads. Maybe like you're really good at Facebook and you could do Facebook better than we can. Great, do that. Do whatever works best for you. And some people like don't even do just SEO. They do just like Google business optimizations or link building, like Cody's famous line. That's a model.
That's a model. You can do that.
And
I'd even recommend not doing it how we are or have, because when I see how most people do productized services, I am not impressed, and I question. Like, one of our biggest things is mutual profitability. I question their ability to be mutually profitable with the way that they have designed their pricing and productized service. I think it's unlikely that both sides are winning the way that they have designed it, because if we're not confident that our clients are going to win and we're going to make a profit, we don't do it. It's not a module. We don't offer it. And we tell them, they're like, why don't you offer this? Because we can't both win, so we don't do it.
You did that for the longest time with the Nextdoor ads.
Yeah.
Still kind of, I mean, we had a breakthrough with Nextdoor, but we haven't explored it yet. But we got that question a lot, was, hey, you guys don't offer Nextdoor? I'm like, well, like, yeah, because as far as we know, there isn't a way to make this profit. Well, I guess we did it the longest for Facebook. It was really Facebook that had that issue, was we don't know how to make this profitable for you. And we do now. It's just that it just requires so much budget because you just need
it's just higher minimums ultimately. Like, and that's another thing that we explain to our clients too, because this was some confusion that we got once we rolled out this new modular approach, which was an improvement based on the feedback and criticisms that we got out of the old one. But we had to give a little bit more guidance, because we'd say, we do a lot more now. Here's a lot more options, because you guys were asking about all of these. So if you want to do them, you can pick multiple. And so they would have interest in more than one, but we'd have to go back and say, I want you to understand and see how the pricing model works, because we bill a percentage of ad spend. So we charge an additional management fee based on ad spend after a minimum baseline, to just do any sort of management on it. And what that means is, when you add another module, there's also a base management fee, and that is more expensive. So if you can find one module, and then the additional management fee is relatively low compared to adding something new, what that means is, find one thing that crushes it and sink all of your money into it. Because it's going to be cheaper and more cost effective than doing multiple things. And that's not what most people think. What most people think is, oh, the more I do, the more I'll get. It's like, no, that's not the case. You can do more with one tactic and really crush it and dominate it first.
Confident in it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we as marketers often see and think of it is just impression share, that sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, well, if you have low impression share, there's all this money to grow. But that's not how clients see it all the time. They'll just see, oh, I'm not even visible on this other place. It's like, well, you can't make money on that place. Why are you even there? Why don't you just go to the place where you can make money and shove all the money that you can into that one first? Yeah. So we've had to be consultative to explain that to them when giving feedback. So it's like a preventative criticism, because we've had people say like, okay, well, I'm doing these, but I'm not seeing great results. And then we come back and say, yeah, if you drop this and took the money that you were spending on it and just focus on one, you'd be happier and you'd see better results. So we try to be preventative now. What?
It's worked in the sales pitch too, because I talk about the sales pitch, and now people get it, and they kind of back off the idea on social media, because I'm like, hey, if we're not spending $3,000 a month in your area on Google Ads, then we shouldn't even be talking about social media yet. Mm-hmm. Also, I can't wait to hear the recording of this podcast, because for the first half of your lecture, I unplugged my mic on accident.
Oh, good.
So I couldn't hear anything, but I will hear it.
Nice. This will be weird because I'm not home. I'm away, so we're working with that sound. But I did get a mic. It's the same as Jake's. So soon, relatively soon, I should have better sound quality. So people are going to be like, what? Cody's been a potato, he's been a trash can, and now all of a sudden he's just great. Just sounds as good as Jake. But
well, you'll never sound as good as me, but
of course, not quite. I'm in 90%.
No, we should take a poll to see who sounds better. You or me. We'll do it later. But my feeling.
Well, not now, because I know I sound.
no, not now. My feelings might get hurt.
Like, I know I'm a potato.
They're like, you guys, both of your mics are good, but Jake has just a really nasally voice, and I can't stand hearing it.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought of that. Just it's not aesthetic. I don't know. Those people are audiophiles. I don't know how you describe it.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, that's all I have for this one. Basically, don't let client criticism tear you down or make you feel bad about yourself. I mean, I guess you're allowed to feel bad about yourself, but at least do something about it to make it better. They say the customer is always right, and that's not always right. But I think for us, it is always right into the effect that we did something wrong. And whether that was pricing our services or building them out wrong or just not communicating the value or the expectations correctly, then that's totally on us. And between this episode and the last episode, we have made huge changes in explaining what is included as a value, setting expectations of what we will and won't do, making sure that the onboarding prices fit each client respectively, and then actually thinking through our marketing services and our different clients that we have gathered and what the pricing should be for each of those, and then also what's included in each of those. What are the highest value drivers to keep clients happy? And we're still going to mess up, and we're still going to make optimizations in our marketing and our packages to be better. And in fact, Cody, you're working on that right now with Eva, with local SEO.
Yep.
Like, we know that we're lacking in a certain field. Be honest about your services too. Know where you suck. We do really well with on-site SEO and I guess local on-site SEO, as well as Google Ads. Nobody can touch us in Google Ads because we have Cody. Mm-hmm. But
let's go.
We're not amazing and we recognize this. We're not amazing in off-site local SEO because we're a white hat agency. We don't really do anything that's gray hat. We don't do anything that's black hat. We stick to white hat, and it's very hard to beat people who are doing gray and black hat stuff. And that's where we need to get better. How can we white hat this to be better than our gray and black hat competitors?
That was a really good outro, but I actually had two more if you want.
Son of a bitch. All right, go ahead.
I feel bad because it was really good. going to say, don't be afraid to offer discounts if you make mistakes. I mean, I read the room, know the feeling, and know if it's, don't hand out money just because you need to hand out money. But if you messed up and you want to show that you're truly sorry, don't be afraid to knock a little off the bill. Back when we were going through hell in late winter, early fall of 2021, we handed out some discounts. And people were appreciative at the time. So I was going to throw that out there. Again, don't just do it voluntarily. Do it voluntarily, but don't do it if you don't think that it's going to improve the relationship, right? And then the last one, which is actually a little bit counter to everything that we've talked about here, but it's not all criticisms are legitimate. Just because you get one complaint once doesn't mean that you should remake your entire business model or overhaul your whole service plan. So for example, our reports, I think, are one of the best ways or best reasons to bring this up. We've only gotten one. Apart from the part where you talked about the search queries report, other than that, which we fixed. So we knew that part. We did help and revise. We worked on that, and we're still working on it, actually. But we got it to at least a better place. We had one person who just said, I just don't like your reports. They look generic. They look, like every other filler one out there. And I don't take criticism great. I definitely knee-jerk. So I sat on it for a while and then thought about it. And I was like, Jake, we've never had anybody say that to us.
Yeah, it was wrong. Our reports are awesome.
Yeah, we've never had anybody say that. And it, like so saying something like that, just they're generic. I'm like, okay, what's generic about it? Give us a little bit more. If you want to say that, that's okay, but give us more feedback. And we weren't really able to get a ton more about the specifics. And again, we've never had anybody else say that. So just because one person wasn't happy, so we made adjustments to their report.
Yeah, he just complained just to complain, though. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, but so just because that happens, sometimes it's okay. Just think about, well, is this really applicable to everybody? Yeah. So, and I usually, like, if you get it more than once, if you get something 3 times, chances are it's like, it's almost like dev work where if 3 people have said it, then there's like 300 people that actually feel this way. And they've just never voiced it.
Yeah. As soon as I get the second person saying the same thing, I'm like, we got a problem.
Yeah. So.
No, I like those. Those are good. I had a good outro, but I like that you added those in there. Because there's things that I forgot to add into our very first episode. And one of the first things I forgot to add was get yourself a bank account. Separate your business finances from your
Oh, geez.
I can't even say that. But I'm going to put it in the description.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you listen to episode 1 and you're still listening now, get a separate bank account. You can go to like your local credit union, or even just like a search for best place to set up a business bank account near me, and then go to that place and set it up. You don't even need an LLC.
Yeah, that's huge. Seriously. Yeah. Like if you don't do that, you're risking all your money.
Yeah. I didn't set one up. I didn't set an LLC up, but I did set a bank account up immediately before I even collected a paycheck. And then when I did collect a paycheck, I deposited it and I withdrew $1, and then I framed it on my wall. I was like, can I get $1 out of that? Like,
how many dollars you got hanging up on your wall right now? Is it the 2?
I just have the 2. Yeah, I have the one that my first $1, which is still framed from when I got it. Then I have the one that you gave me in April of last year. Is it April? You wrote on it. You wrote on it like a little rebel. Yeah, April 2021, and you said 10,000 monthly reoccurring gross profit. That was when it became a $100,000 company.
And then you get a $10 one. I give you a $10 one when we hit 100K monthly recurring.
Oh yeah, to $10 when we hit 1 million. Yeah. Well, we're well on our way.
No, 100. 100 for. Wait, is that what we're gonna do it?
I guess.
Because what happens if we hit?
Yeah, if we hit 1 million a month, then we should do 100, because then there isn't a higher dollar value.
Well, so then when we hit, is this like computing when we hit what 10 mil a month, then we go back to $1?
Yes.
Because we've gone too far. Okay.
Yep. We go to a penny. We just frame a penny. No,
it's laser engraved.
It's still crazy how far we've come since April of last year. Like exponentially.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah. All right, now we're going to do our outro.
Lame outro. Yeah, that was. Or do you have something cool? Because I
have nothing cool to say.
Same. I'll do it then.
Oh, sweet.
Because you usually do it. Thanks, guys. It's been cool, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Bye.